To the regular meeting of the Kernersville Board of Aldermen. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, and we're happy you're joining us here this evening. We'll begin the meeting with a call to order and an invocation by Reverend Sarah McIntosh, Main Street United Methodist Church.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we come before you tonight with deep gratitude. We thank you for being a God who is so rich in mercy and love. Thank you for always being with us, even now in this room. As we gather to meet tonight, we remember that you have made each of us in your image. Every person in this room, every person we meet, every person in this town we call home is a bearer of your divine image. We are laced with that inherent dignity and infinite worth. Would you remind us of this, O God? Let it move us into loving our neighbors as ourselves. Give us the courage to care for the vulnerable and needy in our midst. May we extend grace and compassion to the least of these, doing all in our power to ensure that all of our neighbors are able to live full and abundant lives of safety and freedom. Help us to tear down any walls that keep us divided and renew our spirits to work towards unity and justice. God, I thank you for the persons gathered in this room and for all the leaders whom you have called to serve. I pray that you would give this Board of Aldermen wisdom and strength. Guide their meeting tonight that their work might further strengthen and support this Kernersville community. Give them ears to hear from one another. Give them eyes to see the needs in our town, and give them hearts that are ready and inspired to work for peace and justice. God, we pray that you would be glorified tonight through the decisions of this board. Give this group wisdom, strength, and courage to do what is right and good for all people in our community. Help them to put the interests of others above their own. Help them to be good neighbors, honoring the sacred worth of all people. Help them to work towards the common good of this town we call home, that all they say, think, and do might be rooted and grounded in love. May we all be rooted and grounded in your love now and forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend McIntosh. All right, our next item is a ceremonial presentation, and I'd like to welcome Jay Smith and Rick Pierce.
We are here on behalf of Mount Gur Cemetery Association. We have a couple things I'm going to share with you tonight in the presentation. Rick asked me to stand up here as the manager of Mount Gur and do this presentation, which I'm honored to do because both these men were mentors to me. So let me first share this with you. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but Mount Gur Cemetery was originally known as the Kernersville Cemetery of Stokes County when this was Stokes County. And when the counties realigned, these 11 men came together in the town of Kernersville and put a little money out of each of their pockets and formed the Mount Gur Cemetery Association in 1894. And this plaque is commemorative of them and that action, and has been redone and will be posted or mounted at Mount Gur to honor those men. Help me with this thing. This thing's heavy. And then our main reason for being here tonight is this plaque. And I'm just going to simply read it. Mount Gur Cemetery Association Board of Director honor H. Stephen Mabe and Larry D. Kane for their years of selfless, steadfast, and indispensable service to the uplift and keep of Mount Gur Cemetery. May those that follow in their footsteps be led by their examples. So we want to thank them for their service. And again, this will be mounted at Mount Gur Cemetery for all those who follow to see.
Hi, everybody. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just can't not say something. My name's Rick Pierce. I am the current president of the Mount Gur Cemetery Association. Before I say any more, for all the folks who are former board members and current board members of Mount Gur Cemetery Association, could you please stand? That includes you, Curtis. I very privileged to work with incredible people that keep this gift, if you will, to our community functioning and vibrant and beautiful. Jay does an amazing job of taking care of our cemetery that was started by gifted people and certainly preserved and beautified by my friend Larry Kane and my friend Steve Mabe. If you don't know Mount Gur, you're not familiar with Mount Gur, please stop by and ride through, because particularly when it's springtime and everything's coming alive again, it is a beautiful place of great dignity and great honor. And I grew up in the funeral business, so yes, I spent a lot of times over there with my dad, and it is not the same place as it was in the 60s, I can assure you of that. And again, I give that honor to Larry and that honor to Steve for what you've done to make it so special. So thank you all.
Steve, could you come forward? You can bring your family if you'd like. So I have the honor and privilege as mayor of being able to recognize important people in our community, special occasions, and outstanding service. And as mayor, it's my honor to recognize you tonight. Mount Gur Cemetery is located in the town of Kernersville and was established, as they said, a while back. March 6, 1894 is what our records are. Mount Gur Cemetery is a landmark for Kernersville and is important historically for the town of Kernersville and for local families. And whereas Steve Mabe has been a member of the board of directors for many years and devoted countless hours to the maintenance, preservation, and planning for financial sustainability of the cemetery for the future, I know that you and Larry did a lot to avoid dipping into the cemetery funds to maintain and keep the cemetery and upgrade it to the place it is now. And that effort is deeply appreciated by myself and others in Kernersville. As mayor of the town of Kernersville, I do hereby recognize and honor Steve Mabe in appreciation of his many years of service to Mount Gur Cemetery and his civic and charitable endeavors in the Kernersville community, and hereby present him with a Lifetime Achievement Award, the key to the town of Kernersville, in recognition of his significant positive influence and impact for the benefit of future generations for the town of Kernersville. Thank you. Would you like to say a few things? I know we've completely surprised you, but.
Dawn has a special interest too because her parents are, her memorials for her parents are over there. And Mount Gur has been the final earthly resting place for a lot of Kernersville's friends, loved ones, heroes, scoundrels, and we have tried our best to keep it financially solvent, and we are at that point. Even though in 1998, that was my goal when we took over the board of directors. We are in good shape. Curtis can attest to that. And the town of Kernersville has done one thing that has helped more than any other single thing since 1894. 1894 to 1924 was the first board of directors. They all passed away and none was replaced. And it went for 44 years without having any board of directors, just individual families and individuals taking care of the cemetery. And then 1968, the same thing happened. A new board lasted until 1998. No, everybody was deceased at that time, and then we reformed again in 1998, which was the board that I'm on, and we set a goal of making it financially stable, which we did, but the same problem existed again. Everybody had passed away or was sick in 2017. Then the town board graciously agreed to furnish us, or help furnish us, board of directors, and we've been doing very well ever since then. And I appreciate Jay and my friend, deceased friend Larry, have helped make it financially stable for perpetuity, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
She might cry, so she might cry, so I might just stay beside her.
Could family members of Larry Kane come forward?
She might cry. I might get hold of her.
Better be careful because it may thunder, because Larry may be
We so appreciate him and his service. We appreciate his family, and you have a family legacy of service that we've seen in Kernersville, so I know you're really proud. The same, Larry Kane worked with Steve. Steve and Larry worked together. I don't know whose idea it was to make all this happen, but I was in this capacity of serving the town of Kernersville when the whole idea of the board and the town's involvement came up. And Steve, I know I was in touch with you a lot about that, so I think it was a really good idea for sustainability for the future, but you all set it up so well for the town to do that. And a shout out also to town manager Curtis Swisher and John Wolf for getting all the details in place on that. But as mayor of Kernersville, I would also like to recognize and honor the memory of Larry Kane and his legacy of service to the town of Kernersville, as well as his significant positive influence and impact to maintain and preserve Mount Gur Cemetery for future generations, and to present his family with a key to the town of Kernersville in memory and in appreciation for a lifetime of dedicated service to others.
thanks to you. Thanks. Larry enjoyed his time over there. He really enjoyed his time over there. You know, it kind of helped the marriage when one's in one place and one. But he really enjoyed it. And thanks again. I'm sure he knows about this. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Jay. All right. Did anyone have any comments? Curtis, did you have any comments? Okay. All right, we will move on to the regular agenda. I would like to amend the agenda to add a 2025 annual report and budget request as number 4 for the car museum. Can I have a motion to do so?
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Alderman Apple and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham, and that'll make it item 2C4, about presentation about the automobile museum. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, so we do have a public hearing tonight. It is an annexation. And our public hearing policy applies. When an agenda item is denoted as a public hearing, persons attending shall be permitted to address the Board of Aldermen regarding the item under consideration. Those speaking in favor speaking first, and those against speaking second. Proponents and opponents shall each be given 20 minutes of time to speak. May choose to allow one speaker to utilize that time or to allocate the time amongst different speakers. In the event that either proponents or opponents have not designated a speaker or speakers to represent that view, the mayor shall divide the 20 minutes by the number of speakers wishing to address the board, and each speaker shall be allowed that given time within which to express his or her comments, ideas, and concerns. And if you're here for a ceremonial item, please stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like to, or any part of it. But if you were here just for that, then no one will be offended if you slip out either. So that is up to you. Thank you all for your involvement in the community. All right. So the first item is 1A, public hearing on an annexation, voluntary annexation of property located at 115 Linville Springs Road, containing 13.48 acres more or less, and then consideration of an ordinance annexing said property. I'll recognize Ms. Catherine Garner.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Board of Aldermen. This is the associated annexation with the Linville Springs rezoning that was previously approved by the Board of Aldermen. It was a condition of the rezoning that they annex.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor or is there anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of the annexation? Seeing none, is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Okay, a motion to adopt the annexation.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right. That brings us to our public session, and the first item is speakers from the floor. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board on an item that is not included on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we're to item 2B, consideration of a guaranteed maximum price contract for the community pool. Mr. Swisher?
Madam Mayor and Board, you have in your packet the guaranteed maximum price contract from Samet, who is the builder on the pool. Guaranteed maximum price is $12,053,503. That does not include the contingency of $500,000, so it's a little over $500,000. So with that, the guaranteed maximum price for the cost of the work is $12,500,688. I will tell you that if you read through that contract, there are a lot of caveats that say this price can go up. So while it's a guaranteed maximum price, there are some things that can drive it up, mainly the cost of materials, dealing with tariffs, availability, and so forth. So if everything goes well and as planned, and we don't have to have any changes on our end, that's what the guaranteed maximum price will be. If it changes, then of course we'll have to do a change order for that, and the price may go up. Can also come down depending on what the changes are. So be glad to answer any questions. I reviewed it, Mr. Powell's reviewed it as well. So be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions, or do I have a motion? Do you want to use the microphone?
I'm sorry. Curtis, as far as the location of the pool, I know there's been a committee that has looked at some potential locations for the pool. Is that part of the design-build contract, or has that decision been made at this point? I don't recall.
Yeah, I think this board voted for it to be located at Pope Park.
Okay.
With the entrance being off of Lambeth Farm Road, I believe,
Okay.
and not Southern Street. So you'll come in off of Lambeth Farm Road, not too far into the park you'll have the parking lot for the pool building, then you'll see the building itself, and then the pool will be behind that.
And this is going to include not just the pool, but it will include some shower areas.
Oh, yeah,
stands.
the biggest price is not the pool itself. I mean, the pool's, of everything, the pool's probably the cheapest part of the project. It includes a building with, I think, 1,000 square foot rooms in it that we'll rent out for activities. They'll open up onto the pool deck. Then it will have a men's and women's locker rooms, changing area. We'll have a little snack area with vending machines. It'll have an office area, and then it'll have a lifeguard station, break room for them as well. And I think the building's right at 9,000 square feet. And then, of course, the other big cost involved of the 12 million is the parking lot, all the infrastructure that you'll have to have in place, parking lot, water, sewer, power, all of that. So, like I say, the actual pool, the hole in the ground that's going to have water is probably the cheapest part of the $12 million.
Well, I just wanted to be sure that everybody knew that this is more than just a hole in the ground, that it really will serve as a community meeting and family assembly area for special events and so forth, that for those that may not have a pool in their neighborhood,
Correct.
Or clubhouse.
Yeah.
So I think it'll
And those rooms will be available to rent out year round. It won't just be when the pool's open. So we anticipate, having those available year round for rental. So that, it's a good sized room as well.
okay. Thank you.
Does this also include the infrastructure to get to the pool area, like the street from, like all of it? It's not just like the parking lot and immediate area?
Yes, it'll
It's to get
include the
to it.
extension of the road. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And it's not a real long extension into there. It's probably a couple hundred feet because it goes right up to the property line. And then we'll go in and most of what it will be a parking lot, but the road will go a little bit past the kind of where you turn to go into the main part of the parking lot. But this price does include that, yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
So it's going to be a paved parking lot.
Correct.
Okay, so kids, bring your flip-flops. Bring your flip-flops. It's going to be hot. So.
Unless you want to get some hot feet.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions? Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I would like to make the motion for the guaranteed maximum price contract for the community pool as stated.
We've got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham,
Second.
second by Alderman Pegram. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, we are to item C, which is the 2025 annual reports and 2026 budget requests. Our first presenter is Next Step Ministries.
Hey, everyone.
If you could start with your name.
Okay. Hi, my name's Alexandria Hicks. I'm the Executive Director of Next Step Ministries. Does the clicker work? Okay, perfect. All right. All right, so our mission is to provide refuge, advocacy, education to survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault in the broader community. To do so, we have several supportive services that we provide. The first is our Safe House. This is a residential program that we're most known for in the community. It's entirely free of charge, where we provide daily necessities for individuals who are fleeing domestic violence, particularly those that are in imminent danger. We provide those hygiene items, and we also have thrift store access, so for those who need clothing, they shop for free. We provide transportation. We have advocates that are on site 24/7 for those individuals. We also operate our crisis line out of the Safe House. We have a case manager that's on site there as well, who provides comprehensive case management services for domestic violence individuals, and that's very unique to those individuals. So whatever their need is, because DV is not black and white, it's not the same for every person, so we make sure that we're very comprehensive in what we provide. And then we also have on the other end of that our community-based services through our advocates. So we have 2 victim advocates that work within our community. We receive reports from KPD, and we receive referrals from Bridges to Hope Family Justice Center in Winston-Salem. Those referrals come in, and we reach out to victims and offer services, and we provide them as they request. Some of those look like court advocacy and legal advocacy and accompaniment. So if that individual needs a protective order, we go with them to file it, but we also follow through and do complete wraparound when it comes to court services. We provide free domestic violence, sexual assault support groups as well to the community, but with that, we also provide the hospital accompaniment for individuals who may be needing sexual assault examinations. So we actually had one that came up in December, right after Christmas, and this is a Kernersville resident that this happened to. So she ended up going to the hospital. We got called out, and we had to, this is through a Kernersville report that came through. We went to the hospital, we helped her. She was completely alone and had to go through this by herself. And we stayed with her until 3:30 in the morning. And we made sure that she was not alone in that at all. And so it's really vitally important that we have access, or that we have individuals that have access to these services. And so in addition to that, those community services, we provide education. And so this is vitally important because we want to make sure that we do the preventative piece of that and not just the reaction piece. So it's one thing to be reactionary when you have someone that's experienced domestic violence, but it's also really important to bring that preventative piece in that. So to do that, we provide community workshops and awareness events. We also do training with schools, businesses, and churches. What we want to do is be able to go in and train individuals to tell them how they can then serve people who come to them and say, hey, I'm in a DV relationship, or hey, I need help. How do you recognize domestic violence? What are those warning signs, and how do you have access to help through Next Step? So we want to make sure that we do prevention efforts for at-risk populations. So in 2025, we served 381 individuals. That breaks down to 274 adults and 107 children. This is actually a 40% increase since 2023. So we've expanded our programming, but we've also expanded our services as well. So we had over 1,700 calls to our crisis line. This is pretty comparable year to year, what we see. But the key thing I want to point out is that 136 of those individuals that we served were Kernersville residents. And so a lot of those come in through our KPD reports that we receive. What's important to point out is that those are individuals who already have interactions with the law enforcement. So those are already experiencing intervention with law enforcement. So it just shows that our services are vitally important to the community. And so in 2023, we had 271 clients, and in 2025, we had the 381. In 2025, our volunteers they provided 9,265 hours of service to our mission. We could not do what we do without our volunteers. And so one that I really, really want to point out is Helen Harshberger. She celebrated her 95th birthday with us in 2025. And even at 95 years old, Helen comes into our thrift store and works 3 days a week, tagging, sorting, and hanging up clothes. She is absolutely dedicated to our mission and really just gives back to us in so many ways. And we also have Connie and Skip Humanek, who are just a phone call away for us when we need, have critical needs at our safe house. And then Sarah Tony actually went out of her way too for her birthday, and instead of asking for gifts, she did a supply drive for us. And so I really just want to highlight how important it is for the Kernersville community to support what we do, and how we couldn't do anything without the support of our neighbors. So in 2025, we did a soft launch of our New and Expectant Mothers Initiative. And this is a program that we implemented because we know that individuals who are like new and expectant mothers are at a high risk of experiencing both physical and financial abuse. So they're a very high-risk population. And so what we do is that we receive referrals from partners like Novant Health, Kernersville Medical Center, and Bridges to Hope Family Justice Center. We take those referrals, we reach out to the individual, and we do an assessment of their needs. And so that can be a domestic violence survivor, it can be a sexual assault survivor, and we provide whatever service that they may need, whether it be court accompaniment or even safe house services. So if they need to go into our safe house, we'll take them in as well, even their children. And then we provide safety planning and education with a really big focus on that financial literacy and budgeting education as well, and any type of other materials that they may need. And then we provide needed items. So that can look like cribs, gas cards, self-care items, pacifiers, strollers, furniture is a big one. So what we noticed was furniture is a very big thing for individuals who are coming out of domestic violence who have children. It's very difficult. If you get into housing, that's one thing, but you can't live in a home if you don't have any furniture, especially if you have children. And so with this initiative, we were really able to help a lot. So I think about one of the individuals that we served, her name is Kathy. That's definitely not her real name, but I'll just give that to you. So Kathy is a Kernersville resident who came to us with 5 children. And so she was a survivor of severe physical abuse and was able to step out of her relationship and start over. She got her own apartment. We helped her with both civil and criminal court. With the New and Expectant Mothers Initiative, we were able to help her with diapers, wipes, and hygiene kits for her children. But then we also were able to go on the flip side of that and help furnish her apartment. So not only did she start over from her TV relationship, but we were able to start her over with a new safe home. And so it just highlights exactly how important it is to have something like this in place to start over for new moms, because it's very difficult to leave a DV relationship when you know that you have 5 children that are expecting you to take care of them. And that brings us to our New Beginnings housing program that actually took off too in 2025. This is a 3-prong approach to helping individuals come to more long-term self-sufficiency. This is based in our safe house, and our case manager that's there really leads this program up. She focuses on the first bit of it, which is the job placement assistance. So she helps individuals find jobs, but not just that. She helps them apply, get resume, or build resumes. She helps them complete the applications, and we also help with transportation to get to the actual job interview. And then we help with 2 weeks of transportation, getting to and from the job itself until they're able to get their own money to self-sufficiently get to and from work. And then we help them with housing search and applications. There's nothing more that the case manager likes to do than go housing searching. So actually taking the individual to the complexes, looking at apartments, and helping them find what meets their needs. And I think it's one thing to just say, hey, you need to go find an apartment, and putting them wherever they possibly can, but it's another thing to say, okay, what are your actual needs for you and your children? And so we take a lot of time to sit down with them and find out what that is, and then connect them to the right housing for them. And so another thing that we do is we connect with local organizations like Crisis Control Ministry, who've helped us tremendously in meeting the needs for first month's rent and deposits. And we've also been able to work with other organizations to cover if that individual has some say they owe Duke Energy some back pay or other, like Winston-Salem Utilities for a water bill that they haven't paid and it's past due. We've been able to help pay those past due bills so that they can then still get into their housing. So that's part of that. And then once they actually secure the housing, we can then turn around and do the furniture assistance. And so we have working partnerships with Green Nest, churches, and other local donors that help. And each of these photos are actual clients who have received keys to their home, and these are all from 2025. And then this is a bed that we were able to get with a donation, actually, in the apartment that we had set up for one of the young boys that we had in our house. So what's really important about this is that when you have someone come out of a DV relationship, if they don't have somewhere to land, the likelihood of them going back to a DV relationship is very high. So having a program like this that works, that really focuses on getting them somewhere that they can land their feet and have a roof over their head, the likelihood of them being able to be more successful and staying out of that cycle of abuse is a lot higher. Okay, so in 2026, we're focusing on being able to extend our impact on the community. Right now in Kernersville, we have a few flagship or annual events that we do. The first two are our school supply drive that we do for Kernersville Elementary School, and then we have a stuffed animal drive that we do. Both of these we focus on children and families specifically. We find that it's really important to be able to tap into that and focus on children and families, especially in a preventative manner. We also have the Day of Remembrance that we do in collaboration with Kernersville Police Department in October as part of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We also have the Hospital Response with Kernersville Medical Center and then our KPD partnership. But what we have found is that in Forsyth County, our partnerships with Bridges to Hope Family Justice Center and also our membership in the Sexual Assault Response Team and Triad Rapid Response Team, both of which are collaborative groups that come together and meet monthly or every other month so that we can staff cases together. These are really important just because it's a way that we can come together and best serve our clients. But what we found is that it's really important to be able to bring together partnerships from a wider or broader area so that we can best serve and navigate barriers that Kernersville clients may have. So what I'm seeing and what we've seen, over the past few years is that in Kernersville, it's hard for individuals to have to go all the way to Winston-Salem for court proceedings. And so for us, we want to make sure that we have built enough partnerships and collaborative efforts with other organizations within Forsyth County so that we can best serve and break down those barriers that you may have getting to and from Winston-Salem. So we provide all the transportation that an individual may need to get to and from court, whatever advocacy they may need to get to and from Winston-Salem. So whatever services that we may need to provide, we're going to do it to make sure that we can best serve the clients that we have. And so we're going to continue to foster partnerships throughout 2026 so that we can continue to grow and foster the programs that we already have. Okay, so that's everything that I have. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Alexandria, for your report. We really appreciate you and your volunteers that do amazing things for others.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Alexandria? Again, thank you for your presentation. It looks like you have some of your amazing team there too. Can y'all stand? Thank you. Volunteers and staff both count. And so the thrift store is there on Highway 66, so if y'all haven't been there, check it out. It's a good full circle, shop and donate both, so. All right, Susan Elliott for the Folly. So that is C2, Kerner's Folly.
Good evening. Good evening. Madam Mayor, Board, Town staff. It's great to see you again. If we have not met yet, my name is Susanna Ritz Malliott. I am the Executive Director of the Kernersville Foundation since January of 2023. And I started with Kernersville in 2018 as Operations and Programs Manager. So I am thrilled to be before you again this year to recap our activities and show our progress. Built in 1880, Kernersville is one of North Carolina's most distinctive historic house museums and a long-standing heritage tourism destination. For decades, visitors came primarily for self-guided tours of the home and to marvel at Jewel Kerner's Victorian-era design masterpiece. Nowadays, our mission is to preserve and restore Kernersville for the education and enjoyment of the public. Our historic site sits at the intersection of history, the arts, and imagination made visible. We are a place where people can connect with our history, with art, and with each other. On April 1st, 2024, the John and Bobby Wolfe Visitor Center opened adjacent to the historic house. The facility allows us to serve visitors more professionally while expanding programming, rentals, and regional visibility. It also shifts high-volume activity away from fragile interiors, helping protect the historic fabric of the house and our collections. The building includes restrooms, an orientation theater, exhibit space, a gift shop, secure artifact storage, a conference room, community room, volunteer room, and workspace for 3 full-time staff positions. It was intentionally designed to accommodate 3,000 to 4,000 visitors on peak event days while remaining efficient and appropriately scaled for our daily operations. We are now seeing that design function as intended. The opening of the visitor center did more than increase our revenue. It drove a 47% growth in programming, a 56% growth in program participation, double-digit increases in field trips and guided tours, and continued visitation growth on an already strong base. Our expansion was structural rather than temporary. Compared to our previous fiscal year, our facilities rentals income increased 339%. Our program fee revenue increased 113%. Gift shop sales increased 45%. Our grants received increased 29%. Our contributions increased 21%. Altogether, this resulted in a 30% increase in our total earned revenue. Our revenue is more diversified and less seasonal than in past years. Our expenditures. Our expenditures reflect expanded activity and responsible stewardship. 61% support staffing across visitor services, collections, programming, and operations. 19% supports utilities, insurance, and maintenance. Marketing remains lean at 3% of the total budget. Our total expenditures increased 17% from last fiscal year. Our payroll rose 13.7%. Utilities rose 48% with full visitor center activation. Reflecting scaled risk coverage, our insurance costs increased 122%. Our repairs and maintenance were up 34%, and we were able to increase our marketing expenses 53% over last year as part of a regional outreach effort. When visitation began to be tracked back in 2003, 2,371 visitors were recorded. In our fiscal year 25, over 16,000 visitors were welcomed. These visitors dine, shop, and spend time in Kernersville. This upper map shows visitors traveling to Kernersville from outside of North Carolina. The lower map shows strong engagement across the Triad, Charlotte, and Raleigh. Approximately 13% of all of our visitors are from zip code 27284. We are proud of this local participation and will continue working to deepen our resident engagement. We collect zip code data at entry, allowing us to track trends and adjust our programming and outreach accordingly. Together, these maps show that Kerners Valley serves two roles simultaneously. We are a regional draw, and we are a deeply embedded North Carolina institution. The reach you see here is the result of long-term investment in preservation, programming, and partnership. Visitors travel to Kerners Valley from across the United States and internationally, including the United Kingdom, Germany, and Japan. While they may come for Kerners Valley, they also experience Kernersville's restaurants, shops, parks, and our downtown corridor. This geographic reach reflects sustained visibility, our preservation credibility, and coordinated regional promotion. From last fiscal year, our programs have increased from 19 to 28. Our participation increased from 1,163 to 1,811 individuals, just through programs and events. Our field trips grew from 715 to 800 students. Guided adult tours increased from 320 to 365 people. Our growth reflects expanded capacity and a clearer role alignment rather than short-term experimentation. The Visitor Center has now fully transitioned from a new construction to an activated infrastructure. This year, we saw a significant increase in facility rental revenue driven by weddings, receptions, and private events. These rentals generate earned income that supports preservation and reduces reliance on restricted funding. This building is serving both as an economic driver and our shared civic space. The micro-role structure we implemented has allowed us to manage this expanded usage without compromising preservation standards in and around the historic house. The town's investment in the Visitor Center is now fully operational, supporting revenue generation, community access, and sustainable preservation. As I said, our facility rental income grew 339% last year. While facility rentals currently represent just 3% of our total operating budget, this growth reflects meaningful diversification and strengthens our long-term sustainability. We view this as an emerging revenue stream with significant future potential, now supported by stable operational systems. Kerners Valley actively markets both the site and the town of Kernersville as a cultural destination. In coordination with the Parks and Recreation Department, the Chamber, and Visit Winston-Salem, we leverage print, digital, broadcasts, and hosted tour groups to extend regional visibility. As our internal operations strengthened, so did our ability to represent Kernersville within broader tourism networks. And this is a screenshot of a really cool video that I was going to play, then I forgot that we can't do video. I'm so sorry. I'll send you guys a link later. Strategic media placement. Our December print placement in Our State magazine, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, reached 205,000 households statewide with an average household income of approximately $209,000. Digitally, the November feature reached 37,000 subscribers with a 42% open rate and a 6% click rate. The December feature reached over 150,000 subscribers and generated more than 250 direct link clicks. These placements ensured that Kernersville reached a high engagement statewide audience. Word of mouth remains our strongest driver at 37% when we consider our marketing survey results. But nearly 27% of visitors report finding us through online search and website channels. Social media and local visibility also contribute meaningfully. Our regional advertising supports awareness that strengthens both search traffic and word of mouth referrals. Our internal operations are now clearly aligned across community engagement, operations, collection stewardship, visitor services, and marketing support. This structure supports increased programming, facility use, and preservation work without overextending our staff. While we were expanding programming and activating the visitor center, we continued our preservation work within the historic house. This is a selection of before photos. From left to right, you can see the south stairway at the top, and then looking down, the south guest room, and a particularly sad chair. But look how gorgeous it is now. In 2025, we completed restoration work in the south guest room, bathing room, and the south stairway. These projects addressed deferred maintenance, improved visitor safety, and restored period-appropriate finishes in keeping with our local landmark standards. This work occurred concurrently with expanded programming and facility activation. Our model prioritizes preservation. Growth is structured to support and not compete with our stewardship. Increased capacity has not diluted our preservation standards. It has actually strengthened our ability to sustain them. Visitor experience metrics. We survey our visitors to assess their experience quality and identify areas for our improvement. Across all survey responses, satisfaction clustered overwhelmingly in the top 2 rating categories, with no statistically meaningful not satisfied responses. Admission price, parking, navigation, interpretation, and restoration all scored strongly in the 4 to 5 range. Overall experience ratings remained consistently high. These results confirm that increased programming and facility activation have not diluted the visitor experience, and we are still providing stellar quality to all of our visitors. Notably, the majority of respondents reported spending more than an hour of time in the house, indicating sustained engagement rather than brief visitation. And for another year running, 100% of survey respondents indicated that they would recommend Kernersville to a friend or family member. Our survey data shows that more visitors are spending over an hour in the house. We have realized that we are seeing a pattern of increased dwell time, longer that people are spending with us on our campus and inside the Kernersville experience. We've seen that increased dwell time correlate with growth in our gift shop revenue, in our program revenue, and seeing the visitor now functioning as a natural extension of the Folly experience rather than a separate stop. Extended engagement increases the likelihood that visitors spend additional time and dollars elsewhere in Kernersville and that they will return for another visit. Looking ahead, our strategic focus remains clear. We are prioritizing continued financial stability, enhancing the visitor experience through preservation, campus improvements, and accessible programming, and expanding our tourism outreach to position Kernersville and Kernersville as a unique and vibrant destination. Our goal is steady, sustainable growth that strengthens the historic asset, supports our local economic activity, and reflects well on the town of Kernersville. Before I close, I would like to recognize the Kernersville Foundation Board of Directors. I'd ask our board members who are present to please stand. Yes, thank you all. And thank you to our board members for their dedication, their governance, and continued support of this organization. The progress that you all have seen today reflects their steady leadership and the commitment to preserving this historic asset for our community. And we are so grateful for the town of Kernersville's partnership in that work. And we look forward to celebrating America 250, Kernersville 155, and Kernersville 146 on April 11th, 2026 with you all. I am happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Apple.
Madam Mayor, I had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask, but Suzanne, I want to just congratulate you because I found that you answered every one of my questions before I got to ask them. But you guys do a great job, and your marketing certainly I think the town is very appreciative of the fact that we have the honor of the Folly emblem being on the side of each of the vehicles that are driven around town providing various services. And it really has become an icon of Kernersville. And so congratulate you and the foundation on the job you do.
Thank you, Alderman Hope. I appreciate you.
Anything else? Thank you, Susanna. Thank you
Thank
to
you
the
all.
board. All right, we are to senior services. Is Lee here? Okay.
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor and Board of Aldermen. My name is Mark Batten, and I'm the Vice President of Development at Senior Services. And it is an honor to be here on behalf of our board, our staff, and the more than 2,000 older adults that we have the privilege to serve each and every day here in Forsyth County. And so for over 63 years, our mission has been to help older adults in Forsyth County to remain at home where they want to be for as long as possible, living with dignity and aging with purpose. We also have a special concern for those who care for older adults in the community, so also help ensure that those care partners have services and education that will benefit them in caring for their loved one. As a reminder about our programs and services, we have the Elizabeth and Tab Williams Adult Day Center, which in 2025 celebrated 50 years of service here in Forsyth County as one of the oldest adult day programs in North Carolina. And it serves older adults who are living with challenges related to Alzheimer's, dementia, memory loss, and other frailties. Our nutritional services program offers Meals on Wheels. That is our largest program at this time, and it is for older adults who cannot prepare a weekday meal on their own. And we also have Senior Lunch. We have 4 sites across the county where older adults who can still navigate outside their home safely with transportation access or support in that realm can go to those 4 locations, and one is in Kernersville at Kerner Place Apartments. We have a variety of in-home services. Home care provides actual services in the home with a registered nurse who does assistance with light housekeeping, cooking, toileting, and bathing. And then our Living at Home program is a case management program that offers support for care management in the home. Our Aging Resources team is also one of our largest programs. We have a helpline that is open to any resident of Forsyth County to receive information, assistance, and referrals through our helpline staff. Again, we provide caregiver education. We have our Elder Care Choices benefit, which employers in Forsyth County can subscribe to. And let's say that you have a loved one who lives in Texas, our Aging Resources team can call that location in Texas and get information, assistance, and referrals for the family member here in North Carolina. Our newest program is Thriving at Home. It is based on the National Capable Model, where an occupational therapist, registered nurse, and a handy worker focus on setting goals with a participant. Is actually driven by the participant themselves. They are independent and make sure that they have goals set. And they set a plan of care that ensures those goals can be met, including putting modifications in someone's home. And then our Creative Connections program is focused around arts and wellness experiences and activities, and it also houses our initiative called Age Friendly Forsyth, which is a collective think tank of private and public corporations, businesses, and nonprofits who are all seeking to make Forsyth County the most age-friendly community that it can be through advocacy and networking. So in 2025, Senior Services had a $9.2 million budget that we operated from. That represents a 3% reduction from 2024. And you can see here that the majority of our expenses is allocated to our programs and services at 86%, with 9% going to administrative costs for staff, and then 5% allocated to help support our fundraising efforts to raise funds to support older adults. And our revenue streams, you can see here that we benefit from a very diverse revenue mix that is significant, so that if there are any sudden disruptions to a funding stream, we are not glued to a singular funding source. So let's just make sure we can continue operations for as long as possible. So at a glance, in 2025, we served just over 2,000 older adults through our programs and services. That equates to over 260,000 hot, nutritious meals through Meals on Wheels, Senior Lunch, and the Tab Williams Adult Day Center. It equates to over 10,000 requests for information, assistance, and referrals through our Aging Resources helpline, over 20,000 hours of home care, over 5,000 hours of case management through living at home, 104 Creative Connections experiences in arts and wellness to over 904 older adult participants. And we also had 34 participants who participated in our Opening Minds Through Art program at the Women's Adult Day Center, which is an exciting art initiative that focuses on producing art from imagination, not from memory. And so when you have Alzheimer's or dementia, it's important to make sure we allocate and provide skills that someone can benefit from that are not relying on memory. Earlier this year, we announced a leadership restructuring at Senior Services. So Lee Covington has been our CEO for the last 8 years, has been with Senior Services for 10 years, and Kristen Perry has been our Chief Operating Officer for the last 9 years. In February of this year, Lee Covington assumed the role of President with plans to retire in the next 3 years, and Kristen Perry has assumed the role of Chief Executive Officer moving forward. This was a board restructuring in response to Lee's retirement announcement. In November of 2023, we opened the Intergenerational Center for Arts and Wellness, and we believe that through creativity and the arts, we can pass on traditions, celebrate cultures, and tell stories that invite remembrance and help the entire community to build a bright future together. And so at the Generation Center, which is open to the public 5 days a week, often 7 days a week, between July and December of last year, we hosted more than 30,000 visits to the Generation Center. 4.9% of those, about 1,500, came from Kernersville. And we hosted over 5,800 activities, again, in arts and wellness, spoken word, drumming, pottery, multimedia arts, you name it, we have it. And about 1,800 of those were intergenerational, so including from individuals from across different age groups. You can see some photos here of those activities. The bottom left is an intergenerational string class hosted by the Winston-Salem Symphony. The middle picture is a community tech day facilitated by a Legacy Federal Credit Union to support older adults with their technology needs. And on the right is a chair-based movement experience. There you can see family members gathering together around the chair-based opportunity. So let's drill down a little bit into Kernersville and what 2025 looked like for that. First, want to again thank the town of Kernersville for their allocation of $16,500 to support 8 hot meal routes in Kernersville and the senior lunch site at Kerner's Place Apartments. In all of our programming, we serve 235 older adults who are Kernersville residents. That is roughly 12% of the entire participant base that we serve. 135 individuals are on Meals on Wheels routes. 31 attend the senior lunch site in Kernersville. 19 are supported through our home care program. 19 receive case management through living at home, and 30 older adults attend the Women's Adult Day Center. And I will note that is a 43% increase from 2024. And so we are increasingly seeing increased cases of Alzheimer's and dementia from residents across the county. In the photographs here, you can see that weather does not stop Meals on Wheels. So this is from February when we had the 2-week snowvid, as I've heard it called, snow COVID. I do not want to relive any of that. But you can see there we still delivered as we could. And then the bottom right, volunteers of any age are welcome to serve on Meals on Wheels. Here you see a young man delivering flowers to Meals on Wheels participants in Kernersville. We conduct regular surveys of all of our program participants, and so I will highlight that in 2025, nearly 90% of our participants agree that Meals on Wheels helps them to eat healthier foods. 90% agree that it helps them maintain a sense of independence in their homes, and nearly 90% indicate it helps them continue to live at home. A few quotes from those surveys. Meals on Wheels means a lot to know that someone will check on me. Last year I fell, and a volunteer stayed until help came. Another person wrote, "It gives me something to look forward to. It's my only hot meal each day." And then for senior lunch, 90% of participants indicate that senior lunch helps them continue to live at home and helps them feel better. Some quotes from those surveys. One person said, "Being able to get out of the house and eat lunch, I am no longer hungry." Another person told us, "It's a place to go to be with others. Compassion, being with people, the exercises, the learning things, the getting encouragement." So senior lunch is impactful in filling bellies as it is filling folks' spirits. And here you see in the picture, that is from our 2025 holiday party, where all 4 senior lunch sites come together for a celebration and fellowship. Some other things I will also share about our Kernersville service reach. Through Aging Resources, we had 397 contacts with Kernersville residents who requested referrals, information, or assistance. And the top 3 requests for information included support through Meals on Wheels, in-home care, and then requests for transportation to medical appointments or other needs. We also benefit from over 1,000 volunteers each and every year. Last year, volunteers contributed over 53,000 hours through Meals on Wheels and other efforts with senior services. And I'm honored to say that right now we have 80 active volunteers who live in Kernersville, and most of them are running Meals on Wheels routes or supporting the Williams Adult Day Center. We also attended several events that were hosted in Kernersville in 2025, including the Walk to End Elder Abuse at Triad Park. We attended a meeting of the Kernersville Women's Group, and we did a Valentine's card making session at Savage Roasters with local businesses here in Kernersville. And so the photo on the screen you see is of our team at the Walk to End Elder Abuse at Triad Park. So looking ahead to 2026, the population of older adults who are 60 and older continues to rise in Forsyth County. By 2037, it's estimated that 25%, or nearly a quarter, of our population will be over the age of 60. And so growth in that way means that demands for our services will continue to increase, and actually demand is outpacing available funding that we have at Senior Services to support all of our requests that we are receiving. That is illustrated most indefinitely by our current wait list. We have 600 older adults who are currently waiting for Meals on Wheels service in Forsyth County. 74 of those live in Kernersville. We have 188 folks waiting for home care assistance, and 30 of those are Kernersville residents. And I will stop here and point out that part of what we do at Senior Services is celebrate our centenarians, so older adults in our programs who celebrate their 100th birthday while they're with us. And so you see here a picture of someone who received her card and her special cupcake on her 100th birthday. So our request in 2026 represents a 21% increase from our requested funding last year, and that will sustain services and benefits for 8 Kernersville residents, including 6 Meals on Wheels participants and 2 senior lunch participants, and that's for an entire year of support. And so why the increase? I think it's important for us to remember that food insecurity touches older adults as well. So while 1 in 6 residents in Forsyth County are food insecure, we cannot forget that that does include our older adult neighbors. Groceries are costing more. Public funding that we have relied on is becoming less certain than it used to be. We've already seen cuts related to Medicare and other funding sources, and that's created a real gap between what older adults need and what we can reliably cover. And when that gap grows, older adults feel it first. And for Senior Lunch and Meals on Wheels, our programs are preventative. This is how we help people stay stable, stay healthier, and stay in their own homes longer, rather than ending up in more costly emergency care or a long-term facility that far outweighs their available resources. Also would like to share that we are in additional need of volunteers, and so if anyone listening or here in the room tonight has an interest in joining us as a Meals on Wheels volunteer, we could utilize at least 10 more to run a route once a month. Meals on Wheels routes take about an hour to an hour and a half to deliver, and it's a wonderful way for you to get to know your neighbors in the community and have a moment to share with them. You will often be the only face they see each and every day, so it's an important moment of social connection. And I also can't go by without highlighting that this year, we are anticipated to celebrate our 8 millionth meal delivery here in Forsyth County, and that is a huge milestone for us. That's a lot of older adults who are being nourished in really special ways. And so in closing, I want to thank you for considering our request and for your past generosity, because life-enriching care enables older adults to live at home is super needed, and we appreciate your consideration. And with that, any questions?
Any questions for Mark?
I have one, Mayor. You've very appropriately talked about delivery of services. If I could get you to address how someone, a senior who may have a need for entry into the Meals on Wheels program, how do they communicate that, hey, I need help with, nutritional needs? Who do they call? Where do they call?
Yeah, so they will start with our helpline, and that number is available on our directories, our website, and lots of community publications. And we have a Meals on Wheels assessment team who will call the individual back, assess their home situation, their nutritional situation. And right now, we're not able to take on any new participants in Meals on Wheels due to our wait list. But we are able to provide frozen meals, which we do every 2 weeks. And so while it's not a hot meal, it is a guaranteed meal for that individual to have. We also provide shelf-stable pantry items. They can at least have items they can easily open and heat or prepare on a stovetop for them to at least have some nourishment during the day. They would just call us. We do a complete intake assessment and make sure that our Meals on Wheels program will meet their dietary needs and help them to remain at home.
For the purposes of, you're having the benefit of so many people watching this meeting tonight on our YouTube channel and watching it afterwards. Because do you know off the top of your head the helpline telephone number? I don't mean to put you.
Well, they can call our main number, which is 336-725-0907, and ask for the helpline, and our staff will make sure they get to the right place.
I think it'd be a good chance for some folks who are watching this during and after this meeting to jot that number down.
Yes, and any questions folks might have, our helpline can address regardless of a need. They can address referrals and other information to make sure everyone's feeling supported at home.
Thank you so much and for what you do.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jim Taylor and the Car Club, the Car Museum.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Jim Taylor, and I am the founder and the curator of the Kernersville Auto Museum. I have with me this evening one of our board members, Mike Shaw, and the lady who thinks she runs this place, my wife, Mary. I guess I'd like to start with the good news first. I'm truly appalled at what we've been able to accomplish in this little museum over the last soon be 4 years. It has gone beyond my wildest dreams. It really has. And for the people that come as our guests and the comments they make, it just makes you feel so good. And many times it almost causes a few tears to come down your eyes. But if you haven't had an opportunity to read the reviews on the museum, on Google we have 90 reviews, and we have a 4.9, almost a perfect rating, which is considered outstanding and exceptional. So we hope to continue to keep that rating and even improve on it. One of the reasons for that, we have such a tremendous dedicated board of directors and volunteers. We have 13 board members, and I failed to mention Curtis here. I'm sorry, Curtis. But we have 6 additional volunteers. Nobody gets paid, but everybody loves what they're doing, and we're so excited about that. As you may recall, last year I mentioned to you that Triad Today was moving into our facility as their new home. And Jim Longworth got in around May the 1st of last year. And he has been so excited about being there. And we're very happy to have him there. I think that's one of the reasons our attendance to the museum has picked up, because we don't have a lot of money for marketing, and a lot of this is word of mouth. And we're now seeing and hearing a lot of people when they come in the door. We always ask, how did you know about the museum? And now we're hearing people say, oh, we've seen you on TV. So that's been a win-win situation, not only for Jim Longworth, but also for the museum. I asked Jim the other day, I said, now how long do you plan to be here? And he said, until you run me out. So I was kind of happy to hear that, because I was thinking maybe at the end of this year he was going to maybe be moving on. This past year we had 5,200 visitors to the museum. The program has greatly enhanced our visibility, as I had just mentioned. But we continue to have these raving reviews, which we're very thankful for. This past year, we had 21 events in the museum, and that consisted of a lot of our nonprofits here in Kernersville, as well as anniversary parties, birthday parties, high school anniversary parties, and such like. I think I shared with you last year, we even had one individual that requested that his celebration of life be held in the museum. And it was, and that was very, very effectively done. We have now 50 automobiles in the museum, coming from 7 different countries, from 19 and 22 Model T Depot Hack to a 2023 Corvette. So we have a 100-year range there, and the very young people love the Corvette, but we're trying our best to educate them, and that's one of our missions, is to educate the young and to help them try to understand how valuable the automobile was in the development of this country. And coupled with having our seniors coming in and seeing the expression on their face and letting them tell you a story about their car. And just about each one of them has a story of their own. And we try to take time to listen to them because they're all very interesting. We just had 2 new cars donated to the museum. We had a 1951 Kaiser Fraser that just came in this week. It's really a very rare car. A lady out in New Dallas, Texas owned it, and she called me up and she said she was going through her husband's papers and found a letter that he had written stating that when he passed, he wanted this car to be in a museum. So she immediately picked up the phone and called me, and we said we would love to have it. So we just received it this past weekend. As I think I mentioned, we have cars from 6 different countries. We're very pleased that the Winston-Salem Visitors Magazine finally gave us a present, and I left one of those magazines with you. And we have some pictures in there, and they state in the magazine, here are 4 museums, a must see, and we're one of them. So I think that's going to be good for us too, because that new book just came out just a few days ago. On April the 25th, we're going to be hosting a very unusual event. It's a fundraiser for the museum. And I'll make this very brief. I did give you a handout that has a little bit more information in it, but I don't know how many of you have ever heard of the 1908 race. But what I understand from what I've read about this race, the New York Times and the London Times got together, and they were concerned that the general public was just not accepting the automobile. The horse and buggy was going to be, it was going to prevail. The automobile just was not going to ever get there. And so they put up $10,000 for a race from New York City, believe this or not, to Paris, France. 22,000 miles. They left in the winter. There were 7 cars from 7 different countries. One from the United States called a Thomas Flower, a little company up in Buffalo, New York, almost unheard of. So they entered their car. And it was February the 15th, and it was snowing in New York City, and some of the cars had trouble even getting out of the city because the weather was so bad. But they went all the way across the United States, up into Alaska, over to Japan, and through China and Russia, and finally got into Paris in 159 days. And the American car won the race. Now, how does that apply to us? We're going to have that car, not the one that ran the race, but one just like it, displayed in our museum on August the 25th. And the good part about it is we're going to have the grandson who will be there, who got all of his information from his grandfather, his name was Schuster, and he's going to narrate the presentation. The Wall Street Journal had a reporter in the back seat of this American Flower, Thomas Flower. And so he reported and recorded everything. A lot of it is slides, and a lot of it is in movie form. So it's going to be a really, really exciting time, and we're hopefully going to have publicity from the WSJS and the Journal, and certainly the Kernersville News, and so it'll be something that people will be talking about, I think, for a long time. We're hoping to have 200. In fact, we have 200 tickets made up. And we'll have food and the presentation, and it'll be from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on April the 25th. So I hope if some of you are available that day, you'll make an effort to come and be with us, because I think you will find it very, very educational and very, very exciting. But again, we never want to lose sight of our original mission, and that is to educate the young people of this country. Most of these kids that come in, they've never seen anything like this before, and they're just appalled by it, and they ask a lot of questions, and that's what we want them to do. But our plans are, and our desire is to, for this museum to go perpetual, and we want it to be here many, many generations to come. And we're making every effort possible to see that happen. I hope this gives you a little better insight on what we're trying to accomplish at the museum. And if you haven't been in lately, please come by to see us. And thank you so kindly for your time this evening and your continued support. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Are there any questions for Jim?
Madam Mayor, I have a funny story to tell you. Maybe it's funny. And I'm going to do it at the expense of Jim and in favor of Miss Mary. When the ribbon was cut at the Kernersville Auto Museum, I was honored to be among those there. And I walked up to Miss Mary, and I asked her, Miss Mary, how many of these cars in this museum are yours? And she smiled widely and said,
All of them. Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim, for your presentation. It is a very fun museum to visit. We appreciate how nicely you had it, Jim. You had a great concept for it, and we appreciate how wonderfully it's executed, and all of the volunteers who are so involved in it to keep it open for the public to visit. We very much appreciate your efforts. All right, now we are to the town manager's report. Mr. Swisher?
Madam Mayor, all I have is the nominations committee. The Board of Aldermen met yesterday at 3:30, and they are recommending the following appointments. Appointment of Fentress Gerald as a member beginning immediately for term ending June 30th of 2028 to the Planning Board. And then on the Board of Adjustment, appointment of Victor Evgen as a regular member. He's currently an alternate member. Changing him to a regular member beginning immediately to fill an unexpired term ending June 30th of 2027. An appointment of Trey Prescott as an alternate member beginning immediately to fill an unexpired term ending June 30th of 2027.
Okay, do I have a motion? Got a motion by Alderman Thompson.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham, and also an echo by Sarah. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Yep, and I have nothing else.
Okay, and then on that point, Ms. Garner, could you talk about the email you sent to the board about reviewing the plan?
You may recall that in November of last year, you were invited to a joint meeting with the Planning Board, the Board of Adjustment, and the Steering Committee to meet with our comprehensive plan consultants and go over some of the work that they had been preparing after a summer of public engagement. Then there was a subsequent open house that next night. Over the Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's holidays, they have been putting together that plan, and we have provided a copy of the plan to the steering committee members to begin reviewing in anticipation of heading down the line for adoption. So I've provided you all a link to where you can find it. It's a rather large document, so it won't attach as an email file. We can get you a printed copy if you'd like one, but we are reviewing it as well as the steering committee. We've provided a first round of comments to them, but we want to make you aware of what they are recommending based on the nearly full year of feedback that we've been soliciting both in person and online. Through committee work and through public engagement meetings. We've been hosting open houses. We've been at pop-up events in the community. We've been at Parks and Rec events. So we've tried to be where the people are. So if you have any comments, we would certainly like to get them back to our consultants so that way they can address them or we can have further conversations about that so that as we head towards the spring adoption schedule, we are proceeding smoothly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a good time to give it a close read. And if you have any questions, Catherine Gardner, of course, is the director of the department, and Brad Rentz is very involved in it as well. So, because it's building on the older land use plan, and then also some kind of new ideas. So it's a lot to look at. So thank you for sending that out to everybody. And Chief Alderman, if you could come forward and remind us about the survey for the fire department. Curtis, did you have something to say on that?
I was going to ask you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Board. I'm going to send you a link tomorrow, so be on the lookout for it in your email. It will be to a strategic plan survey. It's 4 questions, very easy, simple type questions: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, SWOT analysis type questions that we would like for you to answer, provide input on. The fire department strategic plan team will be meeting the 1st of April, and just like our coworkers over in the Community Development Department. We've been busy with gathering feedback from the community and also internally as well. And so we're going to take all that feedback and sit down in a room for a few days, and we're going to put together some goals and objectives for our department. And once we get that strategic plan done, then we'll present that to you as well for your review.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Curtis, do you have anything else to present tonight?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Powell, do you have anything to present tonight?
I just want to say, excuse me, that I enjoyed these wonderful speakers tonight and hearing about how they're daily enriching the lives of our citizens of the community.
All right, matters to be presented by the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Sarah, we'll start with you. Alderman Sedanis.
Chief Alderman, I'm sorry, I would like you to come back. I have a question. It's going to sound like a silly question. I know a month or two back, you gave us that big document of the upcoming, probably things that you want to request to be fixed on fire trucks. Do fire trucks have a warranty? Because I noticed that one of the fire trucks in that packet was not as old as the other one, so I wasn't sure, like, is there some sort of warranty? Because that one was costing a lot of money that was new-ish.
Yeah, they have a warranty. It varies, but it's very short period of time.
Oh, wow.
The lifespan on a fire truck is 20 years, 15 years on frontline, 5 years as a reserve. And so, yeah, we keep them quite a while. Wish we had a 20-year warranty.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just was like, wow, that seems like there should be some sort of warranty or something on, but I mean, it makes sense because I know it's such a large expense. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
Right. And it wasn't a silly question.
Do you have anything else? Ms. Sedanis, do you have anything else?
Oh, no, that's all from me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Apple? Okay. General Gorham?
No comments.
Thank you. Mr. Pegram?
Thanks for everybody coming out. Was thinking along the lines, I was in a couple days meeting this past week with some municipal leaders throughout North Carolina. And it got me thinking about community. And with the types of divisions that we're seeing here in this country, communities was going to heal it. So just wanted to kind of put that out there to the universe.
Mr. Thompson?
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. So how it works, I think Mr. Swisher went over this before, but just how it works is we hear all the presentations by the nonprofits, civic and charitable that the town has funded for or that request new funding from the town. And so some of that comes from the occupancy tax fund, some of it comes from the town budget. And so then when it comes to the budget time in June, it's put on the budget as a lump sum. And then we'll pass the budget, and then we'll take a second vote on individual items. That way, if you serve on a board or commission of one of these nonprofits or have a family member employed by one, according to the state ethics rules, you may have to be recused from a vote on it. So that is why we're hearing it, but not taking any action. So save that information, the meeting, if you review their financial information and the information they give us about the services they provide, take the time to research the organization and find out more about it, and always check in with Mr. Swisher on the specifics too, as to past funding and that sort of thing, and the parameters that we've used in the past for awarding funding. So, but I thought all the presentations, like others have said tonight, were really good. I mean, just a lot of care and concern and volunteering in this community to help others. So it's very much appreciated and helps to make Kernersville such a special place that we all enjoy living in. All right. Is there anything else we need to do before we adjourn? All right, if that is all, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion by Alderman Thompson,
Second.
second by Alderman Savanas. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you for joining us. This meeting is now adjourned.